What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Monday, July 1st, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 14:36 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from all over the world. I want to just update you guys on the situation with Hurricane Beryl. So, Hurricane Beryl has officially broke a record. It is the first June Category 4 hurricane ever recorded in the Atlantic Basin, and it officially made landfall on the island of Carriacou, just north of Grenada, earlier this morning. It currently has maximum sustained winds of 150 miles per hour. It is forecasted to go across the Caribbean and weaken once it gets closer to Jamaica. It could potentially become a Category 5 hurricane. Again, it has 150 mile per hour sustained winds as of 1400 hours Eastern time. So, plenty of time for it to strengthen. Some models are showing it getting as strong as 160 miles per hour sustained winds. So, absolutely insane. And the Supreme Court ruled today that Trump is immune from prosecution for anything that he's done as a president when he was acting in an official capacity. However, he is not immune from prosecution for private acts. Okay. So the Supreme Court upholding presidential immunity. This is the first time in U.S. history that any form of presidential immunity from prosecution has been recognized. Okay. So this is huge news. And I want to just show you guys what we have going on over the United States. We have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert this afternoon. Nuclear attack options are being broadcasted pretty regularly over the last hour or so. We currently have 3 B-52 nuclear bombers over Louisiana and Arkansas. And we also have a Boeing E-6B Mercury nuclear war command and control plane looping over Arkansas right now. And those planes are responsible for remotely launching all of our Minuteman III ICBMs. But you can see right now 2 B-52s over Louisiana, one over the Mississippi-Arkansas line. And then we have this nuclear war command and control plane flying over Texarkana. Okay, so our nuclear forces are on high alert. Why? I am not sure. Could it be something related to the Middle East or Europe or Asia? I have no idea. And here we have a US B-52 that got aerially refueled over Missouri, over the Ozarks, and actually a subscriber of mine sent me this picture from Missouri. He was actually lucky enough to see the B-52 getting aerially refueled. So the B-52 is the larger plane here with the larger wingspan, and the refueler is the smaller one. Now, the refuelers are actually massive planes by themselves, but the B-52s are even more massive. So pretty cool pictures here. Very lucky to be able to catch that on camera. Want to update you guys on the U.S. military bases that are now at force protection level Charlie in Europe. So, a credible, anonymous U.S. Department of Defense official told Fox News yesterday that there is credible intelligence indicating possible attacks on U.S. bases in Europe in the coming days. And soldiers serving at U.S. bases in Europe are now prohibited from wearing their uniforms in public. And the U.S. European Command stated that the increased protection status of U.S. forces in Europe is not related to a single threat, but concerns a combination of factors. Okay, so this is extremely concerning. We are now at force protection Charlie level, which means that there's an imminent threat And the only thing higher than Charlie is an actual ongoing attack. Okay, so this is basically like DEFCON 2 for security purposes. Okay, it's right below an actual ongoing attack. So it's the highest level of alert before an actual ongoing attack. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1 month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1 month freeze dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there. So this is very, very serious. We have to monitor that. And I want to remind you guys that the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei posted a threat to U.S. bases worldwide on Saturday. On Twitter, he wrote, "The U.S. has bases all over the world. In such a situation, any movement, any action, and any revolution that only pays attention to its own internal environment and neglects foreign developments will certainly suffer a blow." Okay, so he was basically talking about the U.S. supporting Israel in their war against Hezbollah, threatening U.S. bases worldwide. This is extremely concerning. Now, earlier in the year, there were some Russian agents that were arrested in Germany, and they were supposedly planning to blow up some warehouses and bases in Germany where NATO weapons were being stored and transferred to Ukraine. Okay, so it could be related to that also. Want to just update you guys on the situation in Lebanon. It looks like we are just days away from war in the Middle East again. Apparently now the German Lufthansa Airlines have announced cancellation of flights to Beirut until July 31st due to the situation in the Middle East. And we're also hearing that all of the Swiss International Group of airlines have canceled their flights to Beirut through the rest of July. So that is a huge red flag. And the U.S. Embassy in Lebanon just posted a security alert today about flight restrictions to and from Beirut. The U.S. Embassy has been informed that members of Swiss International Airlines, which includes Lufthansa, Swiss, and Eurowings, are adjusting flight schedules between June 29th and July 31st, resulting in some cases in short notice flight cancellations. The embassy encourages U.S. citizens traveling to or from Lebanon to monitor their flight status closely. Be aware that itineraries could change with little or no warning, and make appropriate plans. The U.S. Embassy also reminds U.S. citizens to review the current travel advisory, which strongly urges U.S. citizens to reconsider travel to Lebanon. The security environment remains complex and can change quickly. Okay, so over a dozen countries now telling their citizens to leave Lebanon and banning travel to Lebanon. And now we have this major airlines group, which includes Swiss Airlines, Eurowings, and Lufthansa, canceling their flights to Beirut through the rest of the month. Absolutely insane. And the Israeli military fired flares at the Egyptian border last night, just south of Rafah. And then the Egyptian Air Defense Forces apparently shot down an aerial target of unknown origin in the Red Sea region. So a lot of tension building between Israel and Egypt. Egypt has massed hundreds of tanks and armored vehicles in the Sinai Peninsula, very close to the Israeli border. So it's very possible that Egypt could even attack Israel when Israel goes into Lebanon. And Israeli intelligence is reporting that Iran is speeding up its smuggling of weapons to Hezbollah, with advanced air defense systems and anti tank missiles being delivered to them. And last week, the U.S. asked Iraq to close their airspace so Iranian weapons could not be smuggled into Lebanon for Hezbollah. And some commanders within the IDF want an operation against Lebanon to happen as soon as possible. And according to these commanders, key figures in Hezbollah, the leadership of Hezbollah, will flee to the Iran, Syria, Iraq border area. And northern Israeli hospitals transferred some patients to central Israel to prepare for war with Hezbollah. This is being reported by Israeli News 12. Patients are being moved from intensive care units to make room and enable urgent medical treatment in case of a war. Okay, so they're moving patients that are taking up space in the intensive care units in northern Israel to central Israel, okay, to free up space in those hospitals for soldiers and even civilians to get treatment. So that is another sign that we are on the verge of war with Hezbollah. And Spain has announced that it is joining South Africa's lawsuit against Israel at the International Court of Justice in The Hague. And Iraqi terrorist groups announced that they would make an important statement related to the situation with Lebanon very soon. And another U.S. warship has entered the Mediterranean, the USS Mount Whitney, which will likely link with the USS Wasp amphibious ready group in the Eastern Mediterranean, and it will help to assist with military evacuation operations if needed, and also to support military operations against Hezbollah. Okay, so another U.S. warship going to the Eastern Mediterranean. There's already several warships in the Eastern Mediterranean, including thousands of U.S. Marines, okay, on standby, getting ready to evacuate Americans and assist in combat operations, okay? Now, when the war first began in Gaza, the Mount Whitney was off the coast of Israel as well, along with the USS Bataan amphibious ready group, okay? And Israel may launch a military operation against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon in the second half of July, according to the German newspaper Bild, citing sources. Western diplomats suggest that Israel could launch an operation against southern Lebanon as early as the third or fourth week of July. And Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said that the Israeli army urgently needs approximately 11,000 more soldiers. I wonder why. And Israeli intelligence is warning that the Houthis may expand their activity across the Middle East and start attacking Israel from new directions. And the Iranian Revolutionary Guard commander said that the IRGC currently has its hands tied and are not in a position to take action against Israel. And armed clashes are now ongoing between Syrian rebels and the Turkish army in northeastern Syria in Afrin. And all Turkish civil servants and government officials have been ordered to leave northern Syria immediately. And Belarus's chief of general staff, Pavel Muravenko, said that Belarus would use tactical nuclear weapons that Russia deployed on its territory if the sovereignty or independence of Belarus was threatened. Belarusian state-run news outlet Belta reported on June the 30th. We've learned how to handle these weapons. We know how to apply them confidently. We are able to do it. And you can be sure we will do it if the sovereignty and independence of our country is threatened, Pavel Muravenko said during a TV broadcast, according to Belta. A day earlier, the Belarusian military claimed that Ukraine is allegedly deploying its forces to the shared state border for potential sabotage terrorist attacks, state-run news outlet Belta reported. And Russia is claiming that Ukraine and other foreign nations are preparing a false flag operation with chemical and radiological weapons. But this is very concerning, guys. We've heard Russia and Belarus claim that Ukraine is building up forces on the border of Belarus to attack Belarus. And this could be the excuse that Putin needs to use tactical nukes. And he's going to have Belarus launch the nukes at Ukraine. This way, the blame is not on Russia, it's on Belarus. You see how that works out? Okay. Putin is essentially offloading the risk by placing it all on the leader of Belarus and having him do Putin's dirty work. Okay. So it's very possible that Lukashenko could be the guy who fulfills the Azov Mena prophecy, which I've talked about for many years now, since the war started. And if you don't know what the Azov Mena prophecy, it's a prophecy from American pastor Philip Barnett. He's from Oklahoma originally. He had a church in the capital of Ukraine for many, many years. He married a Ukrainian woman, and he had a vision like 15 years ago. God showed him a future war between Ukraine and Russia. And in his vision, God showed him that Russia would first invade Ukraine and there would be a massive evacuation before Russia invaded Ukraine. And then later, Russia would nuke Ukraine and there would be another mass evacuation right before Russia nukes Ukraine. Okay. And then eventually, Russia goes down into the Middle East and tries to attack Israel. And then there's also a nuclear exchange between Russia and the US, okay? Shortly after Russia nukes Ukraine, there's a nuclear exchange between Russia and the US. And then after that, Russia tries to go to the Middle East and attack Israel, which would fulfill Bible prophecy, Ezekiel 38 and 39. Okay, so we could be reaching the point where Russia, or now Belarus, is going to nuke Ukraine. Okay, and Ukraine should be allowed to strike valid military targets in Russia, according to Mike Turner, chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, and he is a Republican congressman from Ohio. He said this in the capital of Ukraine today. So very, very serious, guys. Okay, NATO and the U.S. are allowing Ukraine to strike military targets inside of Russia already that are launching what they call cross-border attacks. But Mike Turner, who has a lot of pull, is saying that Ukraine should be allowed to strike any valid military target. So not just the target that's actively attacking Ukraine in a cross-border attack, but any valid military target, okay? So this is huge, guys. And Finland's parliament today unanimously approved a defense pact with the U.S. that gives the U.S., among other things, access to 15 bases on the territory of Finland, okay? So the U.S. is going to have access to 15 Finnish bases. And when Finland was first requesting to join NATO, the Finnish prime minister said that it's possible that the U.S. could put nukes in Finland. And Russia has already moved tactical nukes to the border of Finland a few weeks ago. Okay. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg accused China of inciting the largest military conflict in Europe since World War II. He said Russia is producing missiles and drones with the support of advanced technology imported from China. Okay. And last week, there was this Chinese military plane that flew to Moscow. It was a Chinese military cargo plane. And German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said that Putin is on the road to totalitarianism and that Putin's Russia will remain the biggest threat to our security in Europe for the foreseeable future. Defense policy must be adjusted precisely to this reality, the minister stressed. According to Baerbock, Germany, as the largest EU country, has a special responsibility in this regard. And the Security Service of Ukraine has reported the detention of a group of civil activists who are planning to stage a protest action with the aim of forcibly changing the government in Ukraine after the celebration of Constitution Day on June 28th. During the searches, weapons and ammunition were found. The attackers plan to announce the removal of the current military and political leadership of Ukraine from power. Then they hope to seize the building of the Verkhovna Rada in Ukraine and block its work. The Verkhovna Rada is the parliament, okay? So some kind of a coup attempt was foiled in Ukraine, and there were some heavy ATACMS missile strikes in Sevastopol earlier this afternoon, and Ukraine launched some ATACMS missiles at the city of Novorossiysk. And Novorossiysk is the home of a major Russian naval base, and Russia moved a lot of their warships there from Crimea. Here we have a picture coming from Sevastopol area showing this massive plume of smoke coming up from the horizon after that ATACMS strike. And then here we have some video footage coming out of Belgorod. There was an ATACMS strike on Belgorod. You can see the plume of smoke there is just absolutely massive. And a large-scale cyber attack was carried out by Ukraine's military intelligence agency in late June, and it left at least 250,000 people in Crimea and other Russian-controlled territories in Ukraine without communication, a military intelligence source told the Kyiv Independent. So it looks like some kind of attack on their internet. 250,000 people in Crimea had no internet. And a document obtained by the Washington Post suggests Russia dropped 38 glide bombs on its own territory in a year, likely due to malfunctioning guidance systems, the outlet reported. And I want to just share some more flight paths with you. So we've been seeing a lot of sub-hunter activity in the Azores, and the U.S. military has a very important base in the Azores. It's called Lajes Field. And here you can see a sub-hunter as well as a U.S. Navy VIP plane going to Lajes Field. So this is extremely concerning. And we're still seeing this U.S. Navy MQ-4C Triton patrolling the coastline of Libya. And from what I understand, Libya has positioned some forces along their border with Algeria and Tunisia, and they could be getting ready to invade. So that's why we're seeing this Triton patrolling the coast of Libya the last week or so every single day. And North Korea test fired 2 ballistic missiles yesterday. A short-range ballistic missile was launched in the early morning hours, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement, and 10 minutes later, a second missile was fired. And a source that I have in the Wisconsin National Guard told me that there is a likelihood of China attacking Taiwan in late 2024 or early 2025, with some kind of provocation taking place in August. Okay, this is a very credible source, a soldier in the Wisconsin National Guard who gets classified briefings, okay, told me that this is the new time frame, that the military is expecting something to happen late 2024, early 2025 during the transition of power between Biden and Trump. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight with more breaking news. I will be monitoring the nuclear attack options. I will be monitoring the situation with Hurricane Beryl and also Lebanon and Belarus. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. And until later on, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.